Hey there! Man considers himself a great work, worthy of the interposition of a deity. More humble, and I think truer, to consider him created from animals. Darwin wrote that in his notebooks. And so today we're going to look at this pen. This is a BENU pen, in case you hadn't guessed from the amount of glitter and bits. It's a new model to BENU, the Tribute, and I was very excited for it. So I'm going to be honest, as soon as I saw these announced online, I reached out to Kate of BENU and said, would you be able to spare one? And she said, yes, pick one. So there were two that were kind of released in their regular lineup. There is the Darwin, which is this, and then there is the Curie, which is a tribute to Marie Curie, important scientist. I personally like the finish of the Darwin a little bit better, so that's why I picked this one, but they're both great. But then Kate also sent me, very kindly, one of their special fancy hand-painted ones. And I will review that separately because it is hand-painted. I know it's the same model, but because it's hand-painted, I think that deserves some treatment of its own and not the, oh, and by the way, then there is this pen. So that's coming somewhere in the future. For now, we'll focus on the Darwin. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample, and then I will tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. But first of all, a very kind thank you to Kate for sending me this pen. I really appreciate it. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the BENU Tribute Darwin. I thought we would first look at the box. Excuse me, there's something in my throat. A sip of tea, sorry. The BENU boxes, if you're a regular on my channel, then you've seen them before. I like them a lot because they're all recyclable. So you get this cardboard outer box. We have this pen sleeve. It doesn't look like a pen sleeve because it's flattened, but your pen is in there. You get one long cartridge. You can start writing straight away. You get sort of this packaging material, which is just shredded paper. All of this can just be recycled, right? So there's no waste, which I really like. You get a product warranty and information and warranty, sorry. Not really booklet, but pamphlet. And then, sorry, I'll just take all that out of the way. Then here we have the pen. Let me zoom in so you can actually see it. I'll show you this right next to a Pilot Metropolitan for size, and then let's talk about it. So you can see this is not a small pen. It's $210, and that includes a Schmidt No. 6 nib in fine, medium, or broad. You can also get an elastic nib or 1.1 or 1.5 millimeter stub. These would be made by Jovo. And you can also upgrade for $250, which is a lot, but the price of gold is very high. Extra fine, fine, medium, or broad 14 karat solid gold nib if you prefer that. Okay, so there were two finishes. There was the Charles Darwin, and then there is the Marie Curie. Also very cool. I personally preferred the Darwin, so I asked Kate for that one, but the Curie is also very nice. This one is kind of sort of a khaki and khaki green, so you get that sort of, they were talking on the website about moss-covered stones, but then also leather journals, right? The Voyage of the Beagle, Charles Darwin, Galapagos Islands, finches, like that sort of stuff. And then on the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life, 1859, if memory serves. Not to go on a massive tangent here, but some teachers stand, like they kind of stay with you. One of the professors I had who really stayed with me is Fred Cornelissen. I was in one of the last years he taught, and he taught us philosophy of science and history of psychology, and Charles Darwin came up, and that man was a fantastic raconteur. He was a great storyteller, and he could tell super interesting stories about the lives of those you know, the big names, Charles Darwin, Sigmund Freud, Turing, like all those kinds of folks. Super cool. So some teachers we just remember, and we kind of honor them by remembering them, I feel. Anyway, sorry about that sidetrack. Let me know if you have any like teachers that you remember that fondly. So we got the green and we got the brown. We have a cartridge converter filled pen. Again, comes with a cartridge, so you can use that. This is I hadn't really noticed that. Peculiar looking, it almost looks like a double-ended cartridge, but surely it's not. I'll have to investigate and come back, but I think this is the end that actually opens. Anyway, it comes with that. Comes with a converter, and in my case, I was going to say stainless steel. It is stainless steel, but it's the elastic nib. I specifically asked for the elastic nib. I typically ask for broad nibs from BENU, but in this case, I thought it might be fun for you to see the elastic nib. Okay, so let's look at the parts of the pen, and then I will do a writing sample. On top, the finial, you have this beautiful sort of dimple, and I think it looks really neat. Then we have this gold-colored band with a spring-loaded clip. Pretty cool, works very well. Then we have this sort of dark green, and we have what looks like rose gold flakes, which I thought was really quite neat. It looks cool to me. Also, if you make this pen catch the light correctly, you see that? The cap is fluted. I'll rotate so you can see those sort of facets catching light. Very neat, because I think that elevates the pen a little bit. It's not just a round sort of cylindrical cap. And that fluting also is up there. So you have this dark brown, the green, the dark brown, gold, I think is very nicely balanced. And then we have a barrel that tapers down, and at the bottom, same material as the rest of the barrel. I think it looks very good. You unscrew the pen, and then you have the nib, again in this case, Jovo number 6. This is the elastic, which has those cutouts. I'll show you how it writes in just a second. Laser engraved with the BENU logo. Very cool, because if you buy the Schmidt nib, which you see here, there's no BENU on that logo. I know that's not super clear because of the reflection of the light. I have to turn on that light. It's a very, very dreary, rainy day here today. Sorry, but anyway, I really love that they have BENU on there. And yes, it's just a Jovo nib, and yes, it's the elastic nib, and yes, it was introduced a couple of years ago. We've seen this on many, many pens. It doesn't matter. It's just a cool nib with their feed, and this section is translucent. You can see ink in there, maybe. You can see it, maybe that's a better angle, I think. You can kind of see that tortoise pattern, which is very appropriate. But anyway, then we have this barrel opens up, and it reveals the cartridge converter, just a Schmidt converter. It's nothing fancy. And this part is also translucent. I'll try to show you that as I put the converter in. I mean, it's not all super clear, but if you really hold it up to the light, which I can't do right now, I can't do it on camera, but I can look at it. It is a little translucent, so you can sort of see how much ink you have left, but you do need a bright light source for that. It's a larger pen. It's to me very comfortable, and it posts, which, because there's not an awful lot of metal in the back, obviously gets a little top heavy, but it's not nearly as bad as it could be would there be more metal. So really, in my mind, quite comfortable to use. I am going to grab a sheet of paper because you should see how it writes. Oops, I just hit my light. I'm sorry, that hit the camera, probably made a noise. Here we have, I'm almost at the, you know what, almost at the end of this. I'm just going to rip that paper out because it keeps full, it's sort of like it's folded at the top and then it doesn't fully hit and all that kind of stuff. BENU, this is Pelican paper. It's not the greatest paper in the world. It feathers a bit, but it'll certainly give you an idea. This is the Tribute. to be precise, the Darwin. This is the elastic nib, and this is B.R.E. brown ink. You may have noticed two little skips there. I haven't experienced any skipping. I think this Pelican paper is causing that a little bit. You see it's also feathering. It's kind of weird because it's very smooth. Good news is 2 more sheets and we're done with this, so then I go back to Rhodia. Okay. This is under no pressure. Again, I haven't had these kinds of skips on other papers, so I don't think we should hold this against the nib. Let's see what we do with fast writing. Pretty good. A little bit of a skip here and there, but it's really not terrible. Whoops, there was a hard start. Wetness. Oh, wetness. Sorry. It's not extremely wet. My ink is also, I don't think it's like gushingly wet. So we have that. Let's see what we can do with more interesting stuff. Line variation. So naturally, it's fairly round. Kate did warn me. She said, don't treat it as a full flex nib. It's because it's really not. So let's be a little careful. But it is elastic. That's about as far as I would take it. You definitely get out some line variation. Which is quite neat. Again, this is fairly absorbent paper, so it kind of sucks the ink in. You don't see that line variation that much, but there certainly is a bit of a difference left and right. Again, there was a hard start, and again, I haven't had that in other paper. I think it's this Pelican paper that's in need of being retired. Reverse writing, for those who enjoy such a thing, it's possible. This is already a pretty fine nib. It becomes even finer. If that's really important to you, then there you are. Okay. Let's talk about some likes and dislikes. What do I like? What do I not like about the Charles Darwin? I've said this in the past, and I stand by my opinion. I like BENU. I like BENU because they do interesting and, in my mind, very original things. You will not get a black cigar-shaped pen with gold trim from them. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we have seen that before, multiple times. BENU does things with the shapes of the pen, with the finishes of the pen, that I think are really original, and I really appreciate that. The Tribute model is no exception. I think it's well made. You get here to a slightly more traditional pen shape, because BENU has done some fairly exotic things in the past. I say this without any judgment, but some of the pens have been more faceted or interesting shapes. This is a more traditional pen shape, but it works very well. I love that you have this sort of fluted design on the cap. It makes for a very pleasant cap to touch and uncap. You have something to hold on to, which I like a lot. I really like these spring-loaded clips. They work very well, and they're nice and easy to operate. I like that. I think, and this is very personal, I think it's beautiful. I really love that dark green and then the brown. I like earth tones. I looked at some point at the sweaters I own, and most of them are sort of brown or green. I just like those earth tones. Hashtag Eddie Bauer. But I just really like that color combination. there's gold sparkles, because let's face it, it ain't a BENU if there are no gold sparkles. I know it's not for everyone. I think it's really quite nice. Most important though is, does the pen write and is it comfortable? To me, it writes beautifully and it is definitely comfortable. I really like the feel of it. I like the size of this pen a lot. And then when you post it, very comfortable, because there isn't that much metal in that cap. It's a little top heavy, but it's not excessively so. So I think that is very, very nice, and it's a lovely writer. I have had a lot of fun with this. These elastic nibs, flex writing is not really my thing, but I do like the elastic nibs once in a while to kind of fiddle around and play with a bit. So I like it. Now, $210 is not cheap when you think of stainless steel Schmidt nib or JoWo in some of the configurations, like the elastic, at least I think the elastic is, that must be JoWo. That looks like JoWo. Yes, the 1.1, the 1.5 millimeter italic, stubs, not italic stubs. They're JoWo, and then you have the extra fine medium broad in 14 karat gold. That adds $250 to your pen. Gold nibs are expensive. Gold prices are very high. It's the way it is. It's not cheap. $210 for a pen, cartridge converter, stainless steel nib. It's by no means cheap. I do think you get a very attractive pen and you get a beautiful writer for that amount of money. So I don't object to it, but there are people who will. And then the good news is you don't have to buy it. So that's pretty convenient. Sorry, final thing, sorry about that. Final thing I want to say is, as I said before, I love the boxes. It's all cardboard. You can recycle it if you don't want it. Very simple, very clean. I like that a lot. So there we have it. Likes and dislikes. Mainly likes, because I think it's a really nice pen. I hope this was useful. A very kind thank you to BENU for sending me this. I really appreciate it. That's all there's to it. I'll gladly see you later. Bye.